Everybody, my name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on tonight's show, I'm pleased to have a former Fairfield Prep talent for both football and also baseball as well, and also is a post-grad at Suffield Academy, and will be going to Christopher Newport, a part of the CTC, the Coast to Coast Conference for baseball. Brayden Mazzoni. Brayden, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
There's so much to go over, and you and I were going back and forth about the high school side with prep and hobby, obviously how talented prep was and such. Before we talk about your time both with prep and then with Suffield Academy, I just want to ask you, as far as just sports itself, I always love to hear the stories of how sports found the particular athlete or
Yep.
coach. How did sports come into your life?
So I don't know if you know this. My dad was the pitching coach at Sacred Heart for 20 years. He just retired last year. So man, I mean, I was on the field. I was in the locker room. I was the bat boy. From whenever I started T-ball, I was always on the field. Growing up with the players made me grow up a little early, but I got obsessed with baseball. At a young age, just because, the Northeast baseball lifestyle is different, man. And the way that you see these kids working, and do you know who Zach Short is?
Yes.
So I grew up with him. He was literally like one of my babysitters. Like, we're very close. And I got to see that kid who walked in freshman year. He was 5'9", 140 pounds. I mean, blew it up through Sacred Heart, just worked really, really hard, and then make his major league debut I think 1 or 2 years ago for the Tigers. So seeing that stuff, man, I just got obsessed with it. And then football too. Always, my dad played football and baseball in college, so kind of introduced me to both. I played basketball too, wasn't very good. That kind of burned out quickly. But yeah, no, just I always grew up around sports. It was just kind of my childhood, and I was obsessed with it. So.
Well, it makes sense with the name now that I'm thinking about it, because it's funny that you mentioned your father and being a pitching coach, formerly at Sacred Heart, and now I'm
Yep.
sure he's enjoying retirement. There was a young man who was from Waterbury that I played for a year and went to Sacred Heart. He's from Crosby. Cody Kursky. Does that name ring a bell at
Yeah.
all?
Yeah, he played minor league ball. He got drafted, right?
Yes, he did. He got
Picked up at
drafted
least.
by, I think, the Mariners, if I remember right. He was probably as unhittable as, I
Yeah.
think, probably one of the better arms to come out of Waterbury. And I don't know, do you have any stories about him as far as his
I
time there?
mean, just remembering back on it, that
Hmm.
dude was like a Max Scherzer in the dugout, just locked in. Like, I remember he was a crazy guy, and he threw hard. He was good as hell. I mean, that year, I'm pretty sure it was him, Troy Scribner, who played big league ball with the Angels, and Diamondbacks, I believe. Maybe not Diamondbacks, but that team was like one of the best Sacred Heart teams I've ever seen. And just that pitching staff, went to the regionals, and it was awesome. But that dude's a fiery guy, and he threw like it, and he was very hard to hit. I remember that.
I always believed, and it's funny that you and I were talking about baseball and how the game is changing so much, with starters going 4 or 5 innings,
Yep.
relievers being put out what seems like every inning almost, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I Looking back on it, and you could probably attest to this too, I feel like Cody Kursky was, and many others as well, were kind of if we had the Rapsodo and all the technology, the way the ball came out of his hand and how he had that extra life. And although the ball supposedly doesn't elevate, I felt like when he threw a baseball, it had such carry going through the zone, man. I mean, it was unhittable.
Yeah. And he was, no, you're right. He was nasty. He was nasty. Yeah.
Yeah, man. He was just one of those special talents to come out of Waterbury. But back to you, man, because that's why I have you on here.
Mm.
So to hear about how you played multiple sports is fantastic. It allows the
Yep.
non-burnout for you. Do you feel like, as you started to grow more into your body, both mentally and physically, that you started to be like, you know what, I want to focus on what seems like football and baseball as the two main sports?
Um, I mean, football, I mean, I just love, the only reason why I really stuck with football is because I loved hitting with people. I loved hitting people. I mean, if you watch like even my highlights at prep, man, the trainers hated me because I would just put my head into people, and I played old school football, and I really wasn't, I'm really not that, I wasn't that fast. I wasn't that quick. But I mean, I played pretty old school. And the only reason why I stopped playing football is because I think baseball ultimately is a sport that I can be better at long term. Right now, I mean, I might have had a better football season than I did baseball season, but baseball is really one of those sports that you can work. And this is what we're talking about earlier. You can work, and through that work, you can get a lot better and grow yourself and your body. I mean, you see all different types of bodies in big leagues or college, D1s, D3s, whatever. And it's really a different type of sport in that, and you don't really have to be the most athletic or the biggest guy. But growing into my body, I mean, it's been a journey in itself. I mean, freshman year, just doing stupid workouts in my basement that meant nothing and didn't help me at all. Finally learning how to actually work out and putting on some weight. But it's definitely that in itself has been a journey.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the football side because it's such a, again, I've asked coaches what's the difference between Division 1 and Division 3 football players, and they said it's not so much the drive, it's the fact that the size, the
Yeah.
body, and not being
Yeah.
able to, it's amazing. In baseball, it's a little bit different because again, I've asked the same question to baseball coaches, and they said it's the most minute things. It could be just a tick slow as far as speed. It
Yeah.
could be anything, agile, depending on the infielder, etc. And for you to be able to make that decision, man, do you feel like, again, I think you made the right decision, but do you believe in your heart of hearts that you made the right decision?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm a few tools away. I mean, I was a few tools away from getting one of those big time D1 schools. I mean, I have a legit arm, like a 95 outfield arm. I mean, if I was a little bit faster, I mean, you could say shoulda, woulda, whatever. But I think ultimately at where I'm at next year and through this year, I can get to a place where I'm definitely going to be confident in that decision. And I think everything will work itself out through, consistent hard work. I mean, I love football. And honestly, if I'm at Christopher Newport for 4 years, there's no saying that I won't play there. My junior year, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, I've never had a year where I just focused on baseball in my entire life. So I want to do that for at least a year or two. And then if baseball is all going well and I've earned my spot and my to be able to play something in the fall when baseball is training, there's no saying I won't do that. But yeah, definitely, I think it was the right decision.
Now, as you were going through prep, I always, think about the adjustments that players make from year 1 to year 2, year 3, and year 4. And in watching your videos on Twitter, as far as your swing, it seems like it was one, and you could help me out here because you could speak to it. It seems like it was a swing that really took a lot of time because I could tell you, I don't see a lot of movement in your upper body or more so in your hands. The bat, the hands stay in one spot, and
Yep.
then you pull the trigger. It's almost like almost like a band, that like a slingshot, and then you go.
Yeah.
Talk to me about kind of the adjustments that you made with that swing.
So I to be honest with you, I had a terrible senior year at prep. Terrible. I mean, I started out good. I had a few good games against good pictures and good teams. Then I was out for a few games and came back and was awful. I mean, I'm the first one I'm the hardest critic on myself. I played awful. And then I got with one of my old hitting coaches and throughout the process of training, I developed a little bit of a undercut where everything was lifty and I was trying to hit fly balls and it completely made my swing, one, longer, and two, I couldn't hit anything above my belt. Not even close. I could hit pitches that were this close off the floor, but I couldn't hit one that was at my belt, which is like a third of the strike zone. So I mean, working with him, I went back to a sophomore summer that I hit great. I hit like 400 during the summer and picked up interest from schools where it was super simple. I wasn't thinking. I was right to the picture, hands, not thinking, have a middle oppo approach instead of my mind going and I'm doing this. And Aaron Judge can do it because he's 6'8" and he's 200 whatever pounds, but I can't, and I don't have the body to do that. I need to be a contact guy who doesn't strike out, and I figured that out. And it's really just about being short and quick and not getting in my head, because I really did a lot. I was super hard on myself. A bad game meant 3 bad games for me. And it just wasn't a healthy way to play baseball. You know, it's a hard game. And if you're hard on yourself like that, like it's going to have a multiply effect. And I mean, I didn't have a good baseball career at prep. I mean, I didn't have a sophomore season. And then junior year, I played a decent amount and I played pretty good. My senior year was bad, but it's just, I've made a bunch of adjustments, but really the biggest thing is, as I've matured, my mindset has matured, and I've learned how to critique myself in the cage. But now when I'm playing, I got to trust my preparation, and I got to trust what I did to get ready for the season. And I know what I'm doing this off season is going to lead me on the right path. So a lot of video, and a lot of great people around me helping me out. I think I'm going to have a pretty good year. So
I think it was very wise of you to understand that obviously you're not Aaron Judge. Not everybody's built where they can
not
be
close.
6'8", 250, 300, whatever, and hit tanks and be able to do what you were talking about, dropping the shoulder launch angle, trying to do that. I mean, not everybody can, certain do, and that's great. But it was wise of you, I think, to be able to make that adjustment. And again, going back to watching your swings, it seems like everything is leveled, everything you go through the baseball, and it's a line drive. And I think it's I don't know what the exit velocity is as far as off the bat. I'm sure you'll tell me in a second, but I would think that having that ability and being able to stick to that approach, stick to your strength, is going to what will lead you to success.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. No, you hit it spot on. I need to be able to hit every pitch, and be able to battle with 2 strikes. And if I can't do that, then you can't really even call me a hitter, because I mean, last year I wasn't a hitter. I was a failed attempt at it. And you're 100% right. Leveling everything out, staying on top of the high pitches, a lot of high T work, man. I've done every single day, a lot of one-hand stuff and a lot of high T stuff, because if you can't hit up and away, then it's gonna leave your, I'm gonna go right back to that. So just creating better habits in my preparation, and then just trusting myself. But yeah.
So what's the one pitch that gives Brayden Mazzoni a lot of trouble? What pitch is that? Is that the changeup?
Um, Changeup's tough, but my dad throws me BP a lot, and he has a pretty nasty changeup. So I've gotten a hold of that. It's always been up. I mean, I've said it. It's always been up fastballs.
Mm.
And I can hit low and away. I can do all that. But when someone throws me up, I'm pretty toast.
So how do you make that adjustment then? Are you still trying to figure out how to crack the code on that?
I mean, I've gotten a lot better at it.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm just gonna have an approach where I'm not gonna swing at that pitch until I'm down in the count. And I still think I can hit it, but I'm not. I can't. I don't think I can do damage with that pitch, so I'm not gonna swing at it. That's really it.
Is there any, again, I think that's smart to try to be, it's hard again, because when you're seeing high, I don't know what velocity you'll be seeing potentially at Suffield Academy, but I'm sure it's going to
Good.
be pretty good. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it's going to be good. Um, if you are down in the count, is it like in the back of your mind of, okay, I'm probably going to be seeing 2 things. If the kid's got a breaking ball, could see that in the dirt, especially if you're behind, or
Yep.
he's going to want me to chase the high cheese. Are you
Yep.
thinking that in the back of your head, in the back of your head?
Yeah, I would say I am a little bit, but it's really widening it out, shortening my swing, and
Mhm.
just being able to react, being straight to the ball, being super quick, super explosive, and not trying to do too much. Middle away approach, and just battling. I mean, I just want to put up quality at bats. And if I know they're probably going to throw me high. I mean, we don't have a scouting report until college, and then well, I'll have to make more adjustments. But
Mhm.
um, but yeah, I would just say, just being super quick, widening out, and just being a tough out. That's all I want. I want to be a tough out every time. I want pitchers to hate me, and that's it. That's it.
Now, do you take Do you do your own scouting reports now that you mentioned that?
I play a lot of summer ball with some of these kids.
Mm,
So, yeah, I know the tendencies of them, but I don't do many scouting reports, honestly. Not yet. Honestly, I watch warm-ups, I get my timing, but I'm not at the level yet where I do scouting reports. If I face them multiple times, yeah, but it's more game in game
mhm.
adjustments, in game scouting reports rather than pre-game.
Okay, interesting. Good to know. Good to know, man. So as the season now is starting, now you played football at Suffield Academy, and that's I think pretty cool to kind of get, not just your feet wet, but also just getting into the sport groove, if you want to even call it that. But
Yep.
now your focus is on baseball with that coming up. Talk to me about kind of just what your expectations are and just what the season could potentially be.
Team-wise or individually?
Both. Let's do both. Why not?
My roommate is committed to F&M. He's our best pitcher. He's pretty good. He's a lefty, like mid to upper, really good. He'll be our ace. He's gonna have a good season. We have a few very good hitters. A young team, two juniors who are, I think, our middle infield, who are super, super, super talented.
Mm,
I think we're gonna have a good year. And then personally, I really just want to improve every day and just, well, like I said, put up hard at bats, play good defense, steal some bases, and hit a lot of balls hard. That's like I want to, like, goals wise. Obviously, I want to be like all NEPSAC, all of that stuff, but I don't want to limit my season to any type of goal. I just want to go out every day and compete and trust my preparation and have a good season. But I'm looking forward to it. This year has been totally different than all the other years combined. I really I haven't had less distractions. It's boarding school. You can't do anything. I haven't had less distractions and been more focused on, all right, today I got to do this, this, and this. I got to work on this, this, and this. I'm excited. I think I'm gonna have a good year.
Sounds like it's preparing you for college, pretty much having that routine.
Yeah, it is that, and that's one of the reasons why I did a post-grad year. It is preparing me for college, but like I like it here, but it's almost like military school in a way. It's like, I mean, I'm up very early. I get stuff done, and it's more intense than college, honestly. I mean, maybe not for a lot of big like D1 programs, big time, but it's my days are. I don't go on my phone much. It's pretty like just one after the other, one after the other.
That's unique for your generation and not be on your phones a lot. That's really unique.
I try, man. I'm super old school. I think it comes from my dad, where I focus on that. I do a lot of mental stuff. I mean, I like the old school stuff. Phones are terrible, man. Social media, but yeah, I'm on my phone too much, but I still try.
Hey, good for you. And speaking of your roommate, since he's a lefty and I'm a former
Yep.
lefty, two things. One, does he wear his hat crooked? And two, does every time he throws the first base, does he balk?
I don't. He was on my summer team,
Okay.
clubhouse. We had a great team, but he wears his hat super down, so you can't even like see his face. I don't know about crooked, and I don't think he box, but he might.
So he tries to do the pettit thing, wear the
Yeah,
hat all the way down, cover
yeah,
the eyes, and look intimidating, right?
yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, you know what? Every lefty's different. They all do their things.
Yeah.
So, Brayden, I really appreciate you coming on. A lot of fun being able to talk with you and getting to know you and have you on the podcast. Before I let you go, I want to talk about your time as far as you being able to play beyond going to Suffield Academy and going to Christopher Newport. Talk to me about why you chose this school and just anything else you want to share about that.
Do you want me to talk about recruiting at all?
Whatever you want to do, man. It's up to you.
Yeah, so basically I had interest from a few schools. I went to a head first showcase. Basically had a pretty good day, threw pretty hard, and got picked up a lot of a crazy amount of D3s around here. And like for me, I wasn't really in love with any of them. I went to a George Mason showcase, played really well, didn't get offered. And then they ended up contacting Christopher Newport for me. They liked all my video and stuff and ended up getting an offer. But I picked them one because it's in Virginia, it's down south, more opportunities to be on a field, develop myself. Like I said, that's really important to me. They're building a brand new indoor barn 24/7. You can go whenever you want and hit. I like the coaching staff a lot. I know a few kids around here who went there or go there now who loved it. And then just it's a big part of it was competition. I mean, there's a lot of hate on D3s, and I understand. I mean, my whole life, all I've wanted to do is go D1. But it's legit, and we're playing good teams. I mean, Salisbury, Maryland. I'm pretty sure they're going D1 in 2 years. That's CNU and Salisbury are neck and neck every year for that conference. So it's a good program. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yep.
Salisbury's typically, I mean, they lost to a very good Eastern team, which
Yep.
I mean, Eastern had some dudes that now that you look at it, they're in Division 1, some of those kids. So that
Yeah.
kind of shows you the level. But Salisbury's always as far as in the hunt for an NC
Yeah.
Division 3 tournament, championship for Division 3. They're always there, you
Yeah,
know.
no, I think for nowadays for Division 3 teams to actually win the whole thing, they recruit borderline D1 players, whether or not the kid has money or it's academically or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Or they were overlooked in high school. But these kids are good. I mean, they're good. I have no shame about where I'm going or the level it's at. I mean, it's legit baseball. And yeah, definitely. You're right.
And thing is too, also, Connecticut's got a lot of talent. And just because it's the Northeast and it's cold, although it has been cold this winter, knock on wood, it's been surprisingly weird.
Yep.
You never sleep on Connecticut kids. And hopefully, and not hopefully, but I think you will represent Connecticut very well when you go down there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, appreciate you coming out. A lot of fun as always being able to speak with you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you having me on. Good talk, and I'm excited to watch the show. I watched a few other ones. It's awesome.
Oh, appreciate it. Thanks, man. Now, wrap things up here on the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm our jury. Find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.